G'day folks, Dr. Cartwright here. Now, have you ever stopped to think that your health, specifically the health of your prostate, could be directly influenced by a simple habit that most blokes don't talk about? I've been practicing medicine here in Australia for over 30 years, and I can tell you straight up, the science has uncovered some pretty surprising facts about prostate health that go well beyond what most of you might imagine. These findings could genuinely change how you think about men's health. So stick around, because this is one topic you'll want to hear through to the end. Right, let's get into it. In this first bit, I want to put prostate health into proper context and explain why it matters to every single one of you who wants to live a healthy, long life. You're going to discover how a widespread habit can be connected to your prostate, one of the most important aspects of male health. Now, the prostate. It's a small gland about the size of a walnut, and it plays a crucial role in the male reproductive system. It sits just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. The prostate is responsible for producing prostatic fluid, which makes up a fair chunk of your semen. Here's the thing though, most blokes don't give their prostate a second thought until something goes wrong. Trouble urinating, pain, discomfort, these are often the first signs that something's not quite right down there. Let me give you some numbers that might wake you up a bit. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men, right after skin cancer. According to the Cancer Council here in Australia, about 1 in 6 Aussie men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer by the time they hit 85. That's a bloody significant number, mate. And what's particularly concerning is that many prostate problems could have been detected earlier or even prevented if we had better information out there and if the topic wasn't so bloody taboo. Now, here's where things get interesting. Masturbation. Yeah, I said it. This is a topic that comes up, and for decades it was surrounded by stigma, often associated with completely false ideas like being harmful or morally wrong. But science tells us a different story entirely. Studies have shown that masturbation has a direct impact on prostate health. After you understand how important this connection is, you'll want to know what else science has to say about this habit and its effects on your overall well-being. Trust me, this isn't just about your prostate. It affects other aspects of your health too, so stay with me. Masturbation occurs across all cultures and age groups. Its effects vary depending on context, frequency, and how a person integrates it into their lifestyle. Can this widespread habit really contribute to a man's well-being, or are there hidden challenges we need to be aware of? Let's start by looking at the relationship between masturbation, men's health, and other factors. For decades, masturbation was surrounded by myths. These myths not only caused feelings of guilt in some people, but also prevented them from discussing the benefits and potential downsides openly. Some blokes believed they'd lose their vitality. Others thought it would lead to physical problems like loss of strength or difficulty concentrating. I've heard it all in my 30+ years of practice, and I can tell you, modern science has debunked many of these myths by proving that the role masturbation plays is much more complex than the old wives' tales suggest. Here's something practical for you. Masturbation can be used for stress management. Now, we all know stress has direct effects on both physical and mental health. When you masturbate, hormones like endorphins are released, and these are responsible for feelings of relaxation and well-being. This is particularly useful in a time when stress and our fast-paced lives are pushing many people to their limits. I see it every day in my practice. Blokes coming in stressed out of their minds, and their health suffering because of it. According to studies, regular moments of relaxation improve sleep quality, lower cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone, and strengthen the immune system. So there's a real physiological benefit happening here, not just some feel-good nonsense. The effects of masturbation on the cardiovascular system are also worth mentioning. Like other sexual activities, masturbation stimulates blood circulation, which is good for heart health. Now look, the cardiovascular benefits of masturbation are less significant than going for a walk or a run around the block. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But the increased blood flow is still present, and it matters. This is important for pelvic health because it helps reduce congestion and promotes oxygen supply to the area. But it's not all sunshine and roses, and I want to be upfront with you about that. Like any habit, masturbation needs to be evaluated through the lens of balance. It can affect other aspects of your life, such as relationships with others, productivity, and mental health. Some people use masturbation to cope with negative emotions, and this can lead to emotional or physical dependence. It's crucial to recognize when a habit stops being healthy and becomes a problem. We also shouldn't forget that masturbation has different effects throughout life. For teenagers and young adults, masturbation can be associated with discovering their own body and sexuality. For older men, like many of you watching, however, it might have a more practical connection to prostate health. What worked at one point in your life may not necessarily work in the future. The most important point here is that masturbation can be a natural act, but it requires awareness of when and how it's beneficial and when it might become harmful. It's important to maintain not only prostate health, but also overall well-being. Remember that everyone is different, and what works for one bloke may not work for another. There's much more to say on this, and I want you to understand both sides of the coin. You've seen that masturbation can be both a friend and a foe, depending on how it's practiced. Now imagine what happens when we broaden our perspective and start thinking about the invisible and real effects of this habit, not just on prostate health but beyond. I've seen some surprising cases in my years of practice that I think will genuinely shift how you think about this topic. As we all know, masturbation is a normal and in some cases even beneficial habit, but we also know how important balance is. It's time to examine the true effects and consequences of masturbation, particularly regarding prostate health. How can something so simple influence body and mind so profoundly? Let's work through this together. The effects of masturbation are one of the most debated aspects in science, and here's a fascinating fact for you. Research shows that regular ejaculation contributes to cleaning the prostate by reducing the accumulation of substances that, in excess, can cause inflammation or promote the growth of abnormal cells. For many men, maintaining an appropriate frequency of ejaculation is a way to prevent diseases like prostate cancer. This isn't just theory, this is what the research tells us. But it's not just about statistics or numbers. Masturbation has a profound influence on the emotional and psychological side of life. Many men report that masturbation relieves stress and tension from everyday life. This isn't just subjective opinion either. During ejaculation, the body releases hormones like dopamine and endorphins that promote feelings of relaxation and pleasure. These chemical effects are important for reducing anxiety and improving mood. I've had patients tell me they sleep better, feel more relaxed, and generally cope better with life when they maintain regular sexual activity. However, excessive masturbation can also have negative effects, especially when it becomes compulsive. This compulsion can lead to feelings of guilt, loss of interest in social interaction, or even problems in intimate relationships. That's not all either. Over time, excessive frequency can lead to a decrease in sexual sensitivity, which can impair pleasure during sex with a partner. It's important not to underestimate these emotional and psychological effects. Pornography is another artificial stimulus often associated with masturbation, and I need to address this honestly. Consuming pornography can influence how the brain responds to sexual stimuli. This can lead to unrealistic expectations or even impair the ability to experience pleasure in real life. It's important to consider this because sexual health is an essential component of overall well-being. The health of the reproductive organs is also influenced by masturbation or the frequency of ejaculation. Regular ejaculation in older men can reduce the risk of fluid accumulation that can lead to enlargement of the prostate, known as benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH. This can cause uncomfortable symptoms like difficulty urinating and the feeling of a full bladder. Many of you watching probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Getting up 3 or 4 times a night to go to the dunny. The right measure is crucial here. Frequent ejaculation can be beneficial, but a longer time without masturbation can cause secretions to accumulate in the prostate, which increases the risk of infections and inflammation. It's important that you understand your own body and find what works for you. You now know the benefits and risks of masturbation. The question is, are there ways to reduce the risk and maximize the benefits? I'm going to share some facts with you that will change your perspective on this topic, things you've probably never heard before. We've seen that masturbation has a variety of effects, both positive and negative, depending on the context and balance in which it occurs. Now let's explore something that might genuinely surprise you. We'll examine scientific facts, discoveries, and examples to challenge our normal perception of this habit. Let's start with a ripper of a fact. A study from Harvard University found that men who ejaculate more than 21 times a month have a lower risk of developing prostate cancer than men who only ejaculate 7 times. Now, while this number might seem arbitrary, there's a reason behind it. Through ejaculation, the prostate is detoxified by removing potentially harmful substances that can accumulate over time. This discovery confirms that choosing the right frequency of ejaculation is not just a matter of pleasure, but also of health prevention. And here's something important to note. This benefit isn't limited to masturbation alone. The same applies to sexual intercourse or even erotic dreams that cause spontaneous ejaculation. In connection with prostate care, the frequency of ejaculation is more important than the source. This is a good reminder that the body is extremely adaptable and constantly striving for balance. Few people are aware of the effect of masturbation on the immune system. According to research, masturbation temporarily increases the number of white blood cells in the blood. These cells are essential for fighting infections and supporting the immune system, so masturbation is an effective way to strengthen the immune system while reducing stress. Pretty good bang for your buck, I'd say. That's not all. Masturbation has also been shown to help lower blood pressure in cases of mild hypertension. During orgasm, oxytocin and other hormones are released that relax blood vessels and improve circulation, which in turn lowers blood pressure. Now, it's important to know that an orgasm is no substitute for medical treatment. I want to be crystal clear about that. But the effects of this behavior go well beyond sexual pleasure. Let me give you an example that's not immediately intuitive but makes sense when you consider the body as a whole. In certain cultures and in ancient medicine, such as Ayurveda, it's believed that ejaculation is exhausting for the body, which can lead to fatigue or even weaken the reproductive system. This idea, while not universally accepted in modern science, reminds us that balance is important. Even beneficial habits can be harmful when practiced in excess or out of context. Everything in moderation, as they say. It's important to note that the connection between masturbation and emotional well-being is often ignored. Although we've already talked about stress relief, it's important to remember that for some people, masturbation is a great way to explore their sexuality and establish a connection with their own body. However, when masturbation serves to escape difficult emotions or avoid facing them, it can become an obstacle to self-knowledge. You need to be aware of the reasons and methods you use to practice this habit. You might be wondering how you can put all this into practice so that your habit contributes to your health and well-being. This question leads us to our next point. Let's go deeper and examine data and strategies that can have an enormous impact on your life. We've explored how masturbation is both a natural, useful practice and a topic that requires balance and attention. We've also discovered some surprising and curious facts about the effects of masturbation on mental and physical health. Now it's time to dive even deeper. We'll look at some facts, scientific data, and practical strategies designed to help you make the most of this habit without compromising your own health. It's important to know that prostate health and overall well-being are directly related to a balanced lifestyle. Regular ejaculation, for example, is beneficial but only part of the equation. You need to consider your diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management as well. It's all connected, and I've seen too many blokes focus on one thing while ignoring everything else. And what about pornography? This is a sensitive topic, and for many it's directly related to masturbation. Pornography can be stimulating, but excessive consumption is associated with unrealistic expectations about sexuality and problems like desensitization of sexual pleasure. I've had patients in my practice who've struggled with this, and it's a real issue that we need to talk about more openly. You might be wondering what's the point of all this practical information and how the different parts fit together to lead a balanced, long, and fulfilling life. It's time to recognize the connections and uncover the underlying principles that tie everything together. The core message I want you to take away is this: you are primarily responsible for your own health. The goal isn't just to follow a set of rules, but to seamlessly integrate a healthy, conscious lifestyle into your daily routines. This approach isn't about restriction or denial, but about mindfulness and intention. You now have the knowledge and practical tools to make positive, informed decisions about your diet, exercise, stress management, and overall well-being. This is a call to action to take charge of your health with confidence and purpose. A crucial aspect of this journey is paying attention to specific areas of well-being, such as prostate health, which plays an important role in maintaining overall vitality as you age. However, this is just one element of a broader, holistic journey to a fulfilling, energetic, and long life. Let me give you some practical takeaways that you can actually use. First, aim for regular ejaculation, whether through masturbation or sexual activity with a partner. The research suggests that somewhere around 21 times a month is beneficial, but everyone's different. Find what works for you. Second, get your prostate checked regularly. Here in Australia, we recommend that men over 50 have a conversation with their GP about prostate screening. If you've got a family history of prostate cancer, Start that conversation earlier, around 45. Third, pay attention to the warning signs. Difficulty urinating, weak stream, getting up multiple times at night, pain or discomfort in the pelvic area. These are all things you should mention to your doctor. Don't be embarrassed. We've heard it all before, and early detection can make a massive difference to outcomes. Fourth, maintain a healthy lifestyle overall. Eat well, stay active, manage your stress, and get enough sleep. Your prostate health doesn't exist in isolation. It's connected to everything else going on in your body. Fifth, if you're struggling with compulsive behavior around masturbation or pornography, don't be afraid to seek help. There are resources available, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Maintaining prostate health, along with regular checkups and preventive measures, contributes to your broader health goals and helps secure long-term quality of life. So there you have it, folks. I hope this has given you some useful information and maybe challenged some of your assumptions about a topic that doesn't get talked about enough. If you found this helpful, share it with a mate who might benefit. And remember, looking after your prostate is part of looking after yourself. Take care of yourselves out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.